Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Do you think that Zelenskyy thinks that Donald Trump is stupid? Well, if you don't think so, then I will show you that he thinks Donald Trump is stupid and he says it out loud. Why isn't Donald Trump removing this baboon? Oh, you think that Trump cannot? Because why? He's the leader of a country and we can't do that? Or because maybe Zelenskyy is following the right people's orders that Donald Trump is doing his part into? Well, we're going to discuss that as the first topic. The second topic, as Zelenskyy calls Trump stupid, they will most likely meet somehow at the G7 summit in Canada. G7 is a summit, it's an organization, a club of 7 countries, the most industrialized countries in the world. Zelenskyy attended this for the past 3 years. It's going to be probably the 4th. Why? Why not Bangladesh? Why not Zimbabwe? My friends from Zimbabwe, why aren't you discriminated? Why are you discriminated against? Why aren't you invited? So here is Zelenskyy going to meet Trump. Now, why is not Trump smacking this guy? We'll see if he will behave or not. I'm not talking about Trump, I'm talking about Zelensky's time. And the third topic, Trump reveals details of the call he had with Vladimir Putin, the president of the Russian Federation. And Vladimir Putin never called Trump an idiot or stupid, as Zelenskyy did. So maybe that's why the relationship is better between these Westerners versus the bazaar. So let's start with the first topic. Ukraińska Pravda. This is my argument that this guy thinks that this guy is stupid. Let's read the headline. Zelenskyy, and that is what he says. Putin will deceive Trump in peace talks and the whole world will see it. So Zelenskyy thinks that Trump is so naive and baboon that evil Putin, KGB, will fool him, will deceive him like a baboon, and Trump will be embarrassed in front of the whole world. And he will save Trump from these guys embarrassing him in front of the whole world. Did you understand now? Now, if you were Trump, and this guy would say that, what do you think? What would you think about it? Right here, Zelenskyy's interview with the US television channel Newsmax as reported by European Pravda. And I'm quoting, "But I believe Putin does not want to end the war and he will end it on his terms." Boy, ultimately, he will deceive Trump. So Trump is a baboon. But Trump is the billionaire and this is a clown. Comedian. And the other guy, which is Putin, is the guy who is a guy who did something as a spy. So you take a clown, you take a guy who made it big in this world, a billionaire. If you don't think he made it big, I want you to show me what you did compared with that guy in terms of money. So he's a successful person. He is the president twice. So however you turn it to spin it, he did it well. I mean, I wish my child would do that with all the sacrifices belonging to this group or kissing their ass. That's the world, isn't it? So you have a comedian, you have a multi-billionaire guy, twice the president of the strongest country in the world, and you have Vladimir Putin, who was a KGB agent, black belt in judo, spy in Germany, prime minister and president in Russia. Who would you bet your money? Why are these two guys even talking with a third one? Because the interest between the two of these guys say so. You don't know who those interests are? You should know by now. If you didn't watch my videos, stay tuned. Right, so this is what he says. But I believe Putin does not want, and he ultimately will deceive Trump. You will see it. Everyone, including my dead mom. She's not dead. Anyway, the whole world will see it. He's that kind of man. So this guy Putin is that kind of man. He's only ready for steps towards the de-escalation if he faces strong pressure. There is no other way. Do you believe this guy? Do you think so? So let's unpack this garbage. So Trump will be deceived by Putin, clear. Let's start with this, as I always set the premises. Who talks in terms of, and I said always, but anyway, who talks in never? You never say I love you. You never did this for me. You always do this. You always say. Who talks in this kind? Nobody loves me. Everybody hates you. When people talking like this, they are infantile, I would think. Or maybe they're just not thinking about what they're saying. It really can't be all the people, everybody, no one, all the time, never, always. Who talks in this? I mean, what are you talking about? So this guy talks in this kind of terms. Already tells me his intellectual level. Now, he's not does that because he has a small vocabulary, as I do. Okay? But he's doing that consistently. And in this sentence, I think he did it thrice. All right. So here, everyone, you will see it. Everyone. So everyone will see it. The whole world, entire, everybody will see it. He's that kind of man. He knows Putin, man. He is only, that means the only one, the only option is ready for steps towards this. If he faces strong, this is the only, there's no other way. You see, there's no other way. And he says, Putin does not want to end war. That's a clear statement. He knows that. He will deceive Trump. So he's not talking in might, could. He's talking like that. Like he knows things. He has chutzpah. Now, I don't believe anybody until, I develop a trustworthy relationship with that person. Well, with this guy, we didn't even start to have a relationship, and I hope he goes to see Moses before we have a relationship. So, there it is. Trump is an imbecile, will be fooled by Putin. At least he gives Putin credibility that he's a sneaky, sly guy. Next one. But in the meantime, Trump and Zelenskyy reportedly may hold meetings at G7 summit. You see, they may, but the other guy speaks in absolutes right there, and 100%. So why would you have these sleaze and the other sleaze, the same tribesmen right here? Why do you have these bazaars in your civilized world? Huh? So there you have. U.S. President Donald Trump plans to meet with Ukrainian, because he's Ukrainian. You always find he's Ukrainian, not the president of Ukraine. He's Ukrainian. All right. So this is not the American president. The United States of America is like Ukraine's president. You say United States' president, Donald Trump, plans to. Ukrainian. It's not like American president or the U.S. or whatever they would use it. Zelenskyy for bilateral talks on the sidelines of the G7 summit in Canada. Why? You can say, oh, U.S. is the ethnicity and nationality. You can use it, but this is consistent like this. All right, so they will plan maybe. It is noted that the U.S. President Donald Trump had planned to meet with Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelenskyy for bilateral talks. All right, it's expected. Zelenskyy is expected to attend the summit as the guest on Tuesday, 17th of June. Excellent, man. And he's gonna meet whom? He's another bazaar, but this is Trump. Was scheduled to hold bilateral talks with Mexican. She's Mexican. You see, she's Mexican. He's Ukrainian, but she's Jewish and he's Jewish. But hey, they're Mexicans and Ukrainians. Trump and Zelenskyy last face to face in April on the sidelines of the funeral of late Pope Francis in Vatican. That was baboonish. So, after someone calls me like that, he does what he did in the Oval Office. He talks like an imbecile. Why cannot remove him? Like we removed, I don't know, Saddam Hussein. Let's say Gaddafi. Let's say Slobodan Milosevic in Yugoslavia. And many others. Assad in Syria. Why can't we? Because the order was not given. Who gives the order? Now, Zelenskyy insulted Trump many, many times. You can say, well, the other thing is also valid and true. Trump insulted Zelenskyy many times. Yeah, but Trump supposedly is in charge. You know what I mean? So you have a principal of a school and you have a student. And the principal insults the child. What do you think the child will do? Oh, the child will insult the principal back, because that's the way you did in your high school or in school. When the principal told you you're an idiot, you say, no, you're a pedo. No, you didn't. All right, so let's go to the last topic. What Trump reveals the details of call with Putin, Ukraine, to be discussed next week. So Trump is going to meet the guy who said that he's stupid, this guy. Then he's going to talk again with Putin. US President Donald Trump has said that the topic of war in Ukraine was only briefly touched upon during his recent conversation with Russian ruler. You see, Russian ruler, he's not a president, he's just a ruler, Vladimir Putin, but that a fuller discussion is planned for next week. So they will have a conversation. And this is what Trump said. President Putin called this morning to very nicely wish me a happy birthday, but to more importantly, let's go back. To more importantly, talk about Iran, a country he knows very well. We talked at length. Much less time was spent talking about Russia, Ukraine. But that will be for next week. He is doing the planned prisoner swaps. Large numbers of prisoners are being exchanged immediately from both sides. The call lasted approximately 1 hour. He feels, as I do, this war in Israel-Iran should end, to which I explained his war should also end. Yes, yes, yes. So what do? I have the cat here who pushes the camera. All right. So my friends, these are the details, which is nothing. We'll find out the next week. They're going to talk about more in detail, okay? Well, if you have these guys trying to solve the problem, but you have Zelenskyy in between, and you have the forces who own 2 out of the 3 players, what do you want? And the 2 players are in the same boat, which is Zelenskyy and Trump. The same forces, the same interests are behind these guys. Well, I give Trump only this. Trump has, in my view right now, 2 options. One, he is of those forces. Yes, I do everything because he believes and he likes and he has no moral compass. That's one. Or he has to negotiate. Gives those forces something, he has to. Otherwise, he's not allowed to implement certain things like what ICE does. I was about to say ISIS. ICE does in California and everywhere else. So he's implemented his DEI garbage out and ICE out, taking all those things, because he's allowed if he supports those interests war in Iran, for instance. So that's, I think, is this is the other chance. Trump is not like 100% outside of the forces or swamp or however you want to call it. The interest over there, swamp is lower. The interest over there. He made a deal with them, but on the sidelines of the deal, I think he is doing. No, I think that's an possibility. He's doing things for the rest of us, or he's full-fledged those guys over there, and that's it. I don't think it's the third option, which is himself and he does whatever. That's why, whatever he wants. That's why Zelenskyy is still in power, and that's why Zelenskyy can say and do whatever. Even if Trump says you don't do that, Zelenskyy said, fuck off. What are you going to do about it? I call daddy, and daddy's going to call you, and they're going to smack you around. Go back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.